You're welcome yet again to an amazing month where we're going to share very interesting stuff about business.
Business group coaching is back.
This business started in 2019 on the cusp of COVID.
Right now, the entire organization has over 30 people.
If that is not growth, you see what I meant when I told you we were bringing somebody with results to show?
That the reason why I need to have this is that people who follow me are mostly sinners. So they need to hear the word of the Lord.
So he knew how to calculate cost of goods, he knew how to purchase, he knew how to price, he knew how to repair, he knew even how to collect debts.
You strongly believe Jesus was a businessman?
Yes.
Anyone who sets up a business to work in it, you created a job for yourself, that business will fail.
When the leader sits small, the business is definitely going to stay small, and so is everyone in it, trapped in the smallness.
Exactly.
You who think the business people are not in kingdom business. Ooh.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and you are welcome to Business Garage. This morning, the Lamb has won. Let us worship Him. You're most welcome today, and we are excited that you could join us on Business Garage. We are coming to you today in studio, but we are shooting from somewhere else, and you're going to find out where even as we continue in today's discussion. My name is Sharon, and I am your host this morning, and today we have an action-packed show for you. So if you're listening right now, please share this link with your friends, with your family, with your business associates, with your colleagues at work, and let them know that we are live now and we do not want you to miss, because today's show will definitely inspire you and keep you going even as you do business. At Worship Harvest, we are a movement of the gospel, discipleship, and mission, and we exist for the purpose of catalyzing spiritual, social, and economic renewal in our immediate communities, and as a result, the world. And Business Garage is one of those shows where we exist to catalyze your economic part of your life by shows like this, where we bring to you guests who teach and share their stories, where you can get equipped in kingdom business principles and learn how to do business so that you can go out there and influence the marketplace and do big things for Jesus. And today, without wasting any more time, allow me to introduce today our guest. Our guest is somebody that some of you have seen on social media, and if you've not seen him, I don't know where you've been, but it's okay. You have tuned in today, so you're going to see him, and now you will know who he is. So allow me to introduce to you today our speaker, someone that's going to share with us his business story, as well as inspire and hopefully motivate you if you are at a shortage of hope. Today morning, hopefully you can get some hope from him when he shares his story and his experiences. Is C.K. Japheth, I hope I've pronounced it the right way, and he's a co-founder at Innovation Village as well as MoTIV, and he's going to tell us what that is all about. He has been in business for over 10 years, over 10, over 20, a very long time,
Yeah.
he says. He has lost count of when, but he's not just a business man. He has studied, he has masters in business, and he's going to tell us a lot more about it. He says he's a ladies' man, he's a father of 2 beautiful girls, and he says that's the reason why he's calm and, you know, a lot nicer, because God knew that he needed something to soften him, and so he has 2 beautiful daughters. You are most welcome, CK.
Thank you for having me, Sharon.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're welcome to Business Garage. We are happy that you could join us.
Yeah.
And at Business Garage,
Yeah.
we usually like to give guests an opportunity to send their shout outs.
Yeah.
Yes, to their fans,
Yeah.
to whoever it is.
First of all, that was really nice
Yeah.
introduction about the mission of the Business Garage.
Yes.
So well done, you know, to Worship Harvest for building a community and also supporting the community to take care of their economic interests and needs. I think it's such a big mission.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here this morning.
Thank you very much.
You said I'm a ladies' man with 2 beautiful girls
Yeah.
and married to 1 lawyer.
With the one lawyer.
If I don't say that, I might have some explaining to do.
Some explaining to do why they were not mentioned among the beautiful girls.
Yes.
Oh, yes. That's very true. You're a wise man.
Yeah.
Yes. So who are you sending greetings to this morning?
I think for me, my greetings always go out to, the entrepreneurs,
Yes.
the other guys in the arena. They wake up if they are lucky to sleep, and every morning they're trying to find purpose, meaning, hunting. Going out to do their God-given, just listening to that voice, going to the next mile, right?
Yes.
So any entrepreneur where you are, shout out to you.
Shout out to you.
It's not easy, but we need you to keep doing what you're doing.
Yes.
As a person who's trying to build a business in this country.
In this country, yes. Yeah,
For me, they're the real heroes.
The real heroes of Heroes Day.
Yeah.
There should be a day for the entrepreneur in Uganda.
Yes.
Just celebrating and focusing on the entrepreneur. And you mentioned the arena and the lion, and there's that famous thing that goes all around social media, and the entrepreneur is like, when people see him, he's riding a lion, and everyone is like, wow. How does he do it? And the entrepreneur is wondering, how did I get on this lion?
Yeah. How do I do it?
How do I get off? How do I run away from all this? When you mentioned about the lion, yes. So we celebrate, entrepreneurs. Thank you very much for celebrating them, and you're doing a lot to support entrepreneurs. But before we get into that, just so that the audience can know who is CK, we see you everywhere. We've seen you at this level, but you didn't start here? Can you tell us a little bit, where did you start?
I didn't start here.
Yes.
And I like to call myself an accidental entrepreneur. I'm not doing this because it's what I've always wanted to do. But probably it has always been in there.
Yeah.
But I remember, I like to say that I graduated from university and I studied economics. And it was one of my best subjects, and it took me about 80 job applications to get my first job.
80?
80. And I remember the closest I came was with an office in a government agency. We went to Nambole, aptitude tests, 50 questions, 50 minutes. The ones where they say a mango has fallen from the tree, it rolls, which direction is it facing? I'm like, okay, I wasn't there when it fell, but I think it's facing
like these guys want us to get jobs.
Yeah. So that's the only, so we're 1,332.
At that job interview?
Job interview, yeah. And I made it to the face-to-face interview. You
got the mango question right.
Yeah, I got the mango. And that's the only evidence I have to date that I used to be a bright guy at some point in my life. So
yes.
When we went for the face-to-face, the one guy was my lecturer. He was also trying to escape the system, And when we registered in the book, the same names that they had pinned at the government agency, with 5 guys, right? A 6th person entered the room and added her name.
Oh.
Yeah, and she didn't do that mango.
She hadn't done the mango thing.
No.
But
and
here she was at the face-to-face.
Yes.
Yes.
And she got the job.
Wow.
Yeah, I like to joke now that she was so beautiful that
must have been what it was.
even if I had gotten the job, I'd say, let's save the job, let's save time.
What a beautiful girl.
She deserves
contestant number 6.
Yeah. But you see, I think
yes,
for me the importance of that is if I had gotten that job, and sometimes or when God says not now, it's not necessarily that you don't need it or you don't want it, but it's because you're either meant for better or you are being redirected to
your real thing, the real thing you should be doing.
Yeah, I'd probably be sitting in a government office right now. And not that it's bad, but the mission God has given me has enabled me to do a lot more for the community. And
then probably you would have done as you were seated there.
Yeah, so I didn't get the job, and the only option I had was to go back to my high school teach economics and entrepreneurship. So at heart, I'm a teacher.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I loved it because I used to stand up in front of a class of 200 kids and shape their mindset about the future.
Powerful, yeah.
Most important job ever. But I did it for about 2.5 years, and a number of things unsettled me. And
As you were there?
As I was there. And I'm a guy who gets unsettled and then moves to, okay, what else can we do about this? One was my brother was getting married. He works for the central bank. And I was his best man. A typical best man, you buy your own.
You do everything. Where the groom can't be, you must be.
So the shoes he wanted to put on were like 450K. And my salary was 250K. So even if I had gone to the shop and said, guys, give me the left side, they'd be like, add at least for the right side. Yeah, and okay, it began to hit me that, of course,
this wasn't going to work.
It wasn't going to work, but it's also something that needs to be done differently. And then eventually, I think one of the students asked me, but you teach us these things of business, entrepreneurship. Have you ever started a business?
What a student.
Yeah. So, okay. Yeah, so I left the teaching job and I started looking for different opportunities because I believed I had something to give. One of the opportunities I got was with a gentleman who used to earn $1,000 to speak for 1 hour. Yeah.
You're like...
I was like, I want to meet the guy who earns what I earn a year. Because if you look at my salary as a teacher, then...
That was what he was getting.
An hour.
An hour.
So I looked to him for 6 months, and he eventually gave me a job, which was 17 hours a day, including weekends. So he taught me a single principle, and I've lived by principles since then. He taught me that the world rotates around solutions. If you don't have a solution, just keep quiet and get out of the room. Yeah, but we again live in a world where nobody has an advantage over you just because they have solutions. So you must always live in that honest search for ideas, for solutions, instead of seeing the problems, see solutions.
The opportunities in the solution.
Situation. So that's what begins to shape my solution orientedness, being part of the solution, not the problem. That's the mindset that helped me get into what I used to call my dream job. I used to work in Umeme as the head of talent.
So you work your way from being a teacher start working
to a
with
consulting,
this guy. Yes.
and to Umeme, and they had made it.
You are like, we've arrived.
I arrived. I think my annual budget was around $5 million.
Yeah.
Business class
You are the
flight
one
tickets.
who has to come up with how it is spent.
And life was good. Life was good.
Yes.
Until the unsettledness
came again.
And this unsettledness is saying no to 700 job applications every month. Yeah.
You are the one who was tasked with this.
Yeah,
you are the guy with the no.
Yeah. Say no. And the question I used to ask is, I've heard that Uganda is the most entrepreneurial country in the world. How come, remember I applied for 80 jobs, right?
Yes.
But how come all of these kids are coming and also looking for jobs?
Yes.
Until I started taking a close look at this entrepreneurship thing to say, how can we do it differently, better? How can we support entrepreneurs better? That's how I registered my first company called IDEA, standing for Innovation Drives Entrepreneurship and Achievement.
Wow, you're good at those.
Yeah, I struggled with the registrar to get that through.
To get it through, yes, yes.
And that's what grew into Innovation Village.
Innovation Village,
and
yes.
That's part of the extension of what is now MoTIV.
MoTIV.
Yeah.
Okay. So just to take you, those 700 people you would say no to, were they really bad, or what was it about those 700 guys?
And that's the thing. If you look at the current population of Uganda, over, I think 60% are under the age of 14. Yeah. So it's a young population.
Yeah.
When I gave a talk sometime at Macquarie University, I said my mission then was to create about 300 work opportunities. In 5 years, they told me I need to dream higher because
these 300 are not
they graduate more than that.
Yes, in one city.
In one city.
Yes,
so it's just that we have too many qualified young people chasing too few jobs.
Too few jobs.
But the bigger risk is chasing even fewer capacity to create jobs.
Yeah.
So it's not that the jobs are few, but the capacity to create even more
is
even less.
Yeah.
So that's how it begins to, we must be part of the solution.
Yes.
One way or another.
Yes. So you go on and then you set up this innovation village. Yeah. Somewhere someone called you an innovative villager.
Yeah.
So innovative village, because there's innovation village and then there is MoTIV.
Yeah.
And you're a founder for both of them.
Yeah.
Are they doing?
Unfortunately. Yes.
Do they do the same thing? What's the difference? People might be wondering, what's the difference?
Yeah.
Who does this one target? Who does the other target? What is the vision for both of them? What are they working towards?
So here's the thing. By the end of the century, Africa will have moved from 1.2 billion people, to 4 billion people, and half the world's workforce, working people, will be African.
Will be in Africa.
You get. So we have a big role to play in how the world is going to become. And if I bring it back home, Uganda, which is the second youngest country, has an even bigger role to play in Africa and in the world.
Yeah.
Looking at it from that context, already looking at our job creation capacity being low.
Yes.
So many young people, we need to begin to think about how do we approach all of these situations. So my pathway was entrepreneurship. And when I created Innovation Village in the start, the motivation was simple, that if you look at the last 20 to 30 years, the way we've supported our best, brightest, boldest entrepreneurs is through innovation competitions.
Yes.
Pitch competitions.
Go and pitch for money.
Stand up and talk and
tell us what you can do.
Pause everyone in the audience. The better you are at that art,
the more likely.
The more you're likely.
Yes.
You are to win.
Succeed
it's not
in
about.
that thing.
It's not about.
The one with the best idea. Per se.
Yeah. The more, if you can talk on stage, turn.
Yeah.
And don't face the judges, face the other side.
Yes.
If you know the art, you will win. You will surely win.
Yes.
But the way we've supported our best and brightest is through typical pitch competitions, a grant here and a grant there.
Yes, it's true.
Yeah. And the type of support is you'll get 20K, 5K, 10K.
Yeah.
For idea 1, idea 2 gets 5 or 3K and 1K. And the question I used to ask is, what happens to the 97? The guy who can't pitch, the guy who has real cash flow, the guy who has a business that's working, the guy who's employing people.
Who is helping these guys?
Yes.
Yeah.
What
happens to them? Where do they go?
Where do they go?
Yeah.
So the mission then was to create a destination for the 97 who cannot necessarily pitch, but they have something to contribute.
Yes.
They have something to say. They also deserve a piece of glory.
Yes.
And I think then I didn't know what I was signing up for. Then I had my Umeme job, right? I didn't know what I was signing up for. And more unsettledness. I like unsettledness because it shows you what you're supposed to do.
Yes,
next.
it tells you that you're not there.
So more unsettledness came. And the more I researched, I found out insights like if you look at a country like Israel that has 9 million people, it gets more venture capital or investment in a month
than
Africa in a year. Yeah,
that's bad.
Africa is 1.3 or 4 billion people, right? In a year, these 9 million people
It's
get
getting more than the
venture
whole
capital
continent.
Than the whole continent. A month, a year. And then when you bring it back closer to the continent, you'll see that by 2016, it was about 800 million coming to the continent. And then right now it's about 5 billion. When it comes, it goes to Kenya.
Yes.
You know, it goes to Lagos.
Yes.
It goes to South Africa.
South Africa, yeah.
Egypt.
Maybe, yes, yeah.
And less than 3%
We'll get to the rest.
Is coming to Uganda.
Yes, to Uganda.
And the question is how, in what is the most entrepreneurial country in the world? Yeah, so that's the mission that we set out to achieve. And well, we quickly learned that it's mission impossible, right? Because entrepreneurs don't just need the capital. They need the policy, they need the investors, they need talent, they need technology infrastructure, they need the environment. It's like they say, if a fruit, if a tree is not giving you fruit, do you kill the tree,
cut it down, yes.
Or you change the
environment?
The environment.
Yes, yes.
So you find that our biggest problem is the environment in which our entrepreneurs are operating.
Yeah.
Is what needs to be cultivated to be able to make sure they can give us the fruit
that we expect.
Yes. So we don't see much of people building the environment. We see much of the pitch competition, skilling, and capacity building. So we did Innovation Village for people using technology because that was the thing then, right? But then the closer you look at it, the biggest percentage, the need is in the real economy, the cottage industry, the creative, you know, so people in fashion, in film, in media, entertainment, food, woodwork, fabricators, Chiembe,
seamstresses, all those people.
In any African country.
Those are the guys doing the real stuff.
So that's when we ended up building MoTIV for that community of entrepreneurs. So we necessarily not keep them separate, but build them as separate.
A space for them.
Yeah, space for them.
Where they can then thrive.
The innovation villages are many. You know, you'll find so many smart hubs, tech, but you won't find so many production hubs.
No.
Like MoTIV, where work really happens.
Where it really happens. Maybe you can just tell us a little bit more now about MoTIV, because like you said, that's where our workforce is, most of them. It's the one that's employing majority of the people. However, like we were talking earlier, you find that in the vocational space, if you go to the average vocational school in Uganda, there are very, very few students. And, you know, the teachers are like, we start when we are 90, at the end of the course we are 4. Students actually go through up to the end. We don't even know where those 4 go or whatever. So you're doing something in line with that. So what could we do differently? Because that is really employing the people. And everyone is leaving and they're like, carpentry is the easiest business to start. Get into a fashion school and things like those. What are you doing, first of all, differently? And how can we also improve these vocational spaces? What would you say to that?
I think that should be one of the easiest things for us to do, but we've not yet gotten into it, and I also struggle to understand why. But during COVID, the president designated workshops as essential work.
As essential workplace. Workforce.
So workshops were open, right? But vocational institutions were closed. I think it beats down to the mindset that vocational institutions have positioned themselves as a typical university that is teaching something theoretical, that you'll teach someone electrical to be an electrical engineer, and then they will go look for a job. And yet their neighbor needs their services, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, so I think there's some reorientation that is required to rebrand the vocational industries.
Yes.
In Egypt, while I was there, they don't call it vocational education. They call it applied technology. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
and just like that.
yeah, just like that,
Yes.
the carpenter is applying technology and design.
Yes.
To,
And that's something I would aspire as a young person to go to a school which teaches applied
so
technology.
the reorientation of we all don't have to be lawyers, doctors, accountants. That we can contribute differently. I think that's an opportunity for us to begin building in. So how MoTIV is trying to do that is being business partners for people within that sector. Because for lack of, again, a better expression, I'd say MoTIV is a vocational institution where you can come and study in the Creative Business Academy. But once you study in fashion, in wood and metal, fabric, food, film, media, entertainment, you can now move into what we're calling a maker space, where you can begin practicing your art. Then you can move into a production facility where you can begin to produce, right? Then you can have a marketplace, which is a physical retail marketplace, but then there's also an online marketplace where you can sell. And then we'll also participate in sourcing of inputs, raw material for you, and then equipment, and then also access to finance. So we participate in that value chain, unlocking it, reducing the barrier of entry for someone who wants to get into applied technology.
Applied technology, yes. So basically you're dealing a lot with also the environment that you just talked about, that I'm thriving in a space where I see these things working, I see other people, but also if I need market, I don't have to struggle like the average guy. There's already a space for me to start off. So you give us a good start, basically, a good start. So do I stay in MoTIV forever? Do you give me a time and say, you know what, you're here for a year and then you're out?
So here's the
thing. Do they
thing.
Graduate? Do they live on their first birthday? What happens?
That's a very good question.
Yes.
MoTIV is one of the largest facilities in East Africa of its kind. But it's still the smallest in what it is supposed to be. For us to change the vocational create jobs, right? You need what they call, I think they call them OEMs in Singapore. MoTIV is on 4 acres. You need to come to a MoTIV on 100 acres, and it only has people in fashion, right? It's located in Mukono. Then you need to go to a MoTIV of only wood on 100 acres, and it's located in Bwaise. Then you need to go to a MoTIV on 100 acres in Jinja for guys in media, film, content. You enter that space, you're able to shoot everything. You have their studios, there's screens, there are actors, there's a school, there's, so it's not a thing of, they came, they incubated, they graduated. No, we need that density, I call it density, of people who are doubling down on the industry. And have formed that into their home. So I would say here we call it the fabric district. So 100-acre fabric district in Mukono, meaning 300 businesses can have spaces there, can produce there, can manufacture there, and you begin turning the entire community focused on that industry. The incubation thing is the one that has a problem because it's been simplified. right?
Okay.
It's been simplified to say, you'll go and sign up in this incubation thing, and then after 4 months, 6 months, you can go out in
Yeah,
the
you'll be
wilderness.
ready.
Yeah. Because
Yes,
we're still
yeah.
building that environment,
Yes.
I think what we need is that structure, infrastructure that can get people in business, keep them there, and that community and density.
You feel that's what
Yeah.
will deliver that
So
sort of
that's what
thing.
will
Yeah.
attract resources, will
Yeah.
attract markets, will attract capacity, will get people to improve, will attract
Yes.
competition.
Yeah, because someone else
Yeah.
might say, when we are all there,
Yeah.
how does that help all the 300 of us, you know?
Yeah.
If I'm member number 250 who
Yeah.
has set up in these 100 acres,
Yeah.
what does it do for me? Do I then get opportunities, or the opportunities are thereby reduced? So I
Yeah.
think you've answered that.
Yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
and it's that we're all different, right?
Yes.
We're all different. Our skills are different. We're producing different things, and our job is then to begin opening up markets. Because with the Africa Free Continental Trade Area,
Yes.
your market is not Mukono.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yes.
your
yes.
market is Cape Town. Your market is Cairo. Your market is Dubai.
Yes.
And that's a mindset we need to
We
begin,
need to have, yes, if we're
begin
going to
building.
indeed
Yeah.
dominate
Yeah.
in the marketplace. Yes. Do you have any success stories? Do you have any stories you like to tell from MoTIV that you can you can share with us?
I think there are quite a number
Yeah.
of young people who
Yes.
have idea, to business, to expansion.
Yeah.
Quite a number. And whereas I don't mention.
No, without mentioning the
yeah,
brand. Yes. Yes.
I think the most success we've seen at MoTIV is mostly for young people within the fashion space.
Yes.
Yeah, we've started brands. The brands have grown, become good and recognizable brands. And some have even come and said, MoTIV is too small for us now.
We're out of here.
Out of here.
Wow, well, that must be exciting for you. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And then they go on and they start to build. And some of them are making, clothes. Others are making, bags, tailor-made. Others are recycling products and making, different. So we've had more success within the fashion space and also the media space.
Media space.
Yeah.
Wow. Yes. So in your experience now, I think you've seen so many entrepreneurs. You've been all over Africa. Maybe, and you've mentioned how principles for you, following that one principle you learned, you learned that principles are a key thing. Can you share with us some of the principles you've seen that are inherent in these people that maybe we lack as businesses in Uganda? That you're like, you know what, this is what is happening, guys.
Yeah.
You need to do these things,
Yeah.
What are some of those things you would tell us? If you're not doing this, start to do it. You mentioned something about process. If you can just share into a bit of that. Yes.
Yeah, I think, one of the a key important principle for me has been our relationship with failure.
Okay.
we need to
Yes,
we need to have a healthy relationship with failure.
Okay.
Because people fear failure.
Yes.
That if it was standing in that corner, they would pass.
We turn the other side.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So an entrepreneur is defined by failure, meaning you're going to have to try so many things.
Yes.
And you're going to be a public failure. And half the things you'll try will not work. But may that failure not define who you are.
Yeah.
May it not necessarily even, and the harder part about that is everyone will treat you like the failure that they think you are or that you are in that moment.
In that moment,
Yeah.
yes.
So I think a very important principle is failure is the path. So it's almost as if the more you're able to fail, you're going to have to fail your way to success. I'm not saying this in that we celebrate failure or whatever it is, but I've failed.
But don't let it.
Yes, don't let it define you. Don't let it be your full stop. I've failed at more things than I have tried.
No way.
And unfortunately for me, that means being a very public failure. That's the guy.
It's one who tried this thing. Yes, yeah.
You get.
Yeah.
So failure is perhaps a very critical principle that someone needs to learn and reorient themselves, right?
I think those are when Jesus talked about trials and tribulations.
Yes,
the failure is.
The Bible calls it long suffering.
Yes,
yeah.
yes,
And then
they'll come. They'll be there along the journey.
They'll be there. They'll be there. They'll be there, and they are supposed to be there. I think which leads me to the second principle of pressure.
Pressure.
Business is naturally
high pressure space.
Yeah, it's a high. It's a high pressure space. It's how diamonds are formed.
Wow.
Yeah, you're not going to get the glory.
It's not going to be handed to you on a silver platter.
It's not to say atugenda muggulu. No.
Even the kingdom of heaven, it's a fight of faith. Yeah, you have to fight.
You must.
It's a good fight.
You must put in the good fight.
Yes.
And you must almost be your own cheerleader if you're failing.
Yes.
And withstand the pressure, because it's what is going to give you the power you're looking for in terms of what you're building.
Yes, what you're building.
Yeah. So we like it easy.
Everybody does.
Yeah, we like it easy. We don't want to give in our best. We think we can politic around issues.
Shortcut things. Yes,
and yet
the guy who has taken 100 years to build something, we hope to do it in 5.
Yes. And yet it's just a principle, of life, of building. That you will have to go through, these things to be able to get where you're going.
Yes.
So I think, and I think for me, the other critical one has been service. I learned a long time ago that if I want $1 million, right, I must do things for 1 million people.
Yes.
So find a way of being of being
your
of
business
service.
starting to serve. Yes.
Yeah. The more you're of service to others, the more you are served, and find a way of turning that into a business.
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe if I could just interrupt you there. If you could just break that down with an example. Because someone might be, 1 million people, where am I going to find this million? You can just, maybe with some of the businesses you've seen, that you know what, you can get to this level. I've seen this business do this. And you give us an example of that, of the serving. Yes.
Trying to keep it local. I mean, if you look at just an exercise book, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No student goes back to school without an exercise book, right? So the person who makes them, I mean, the demand will be as many as the number of kids going back to school. So the service comes from you being able to meet people's needs or expectations, or what solves the needs that they have in that context. So the context of someone who is doing who's producing exercise books for 1 million kids, you're most likely to then generate revenue.
Exactly, a lot more.
From doing that.
Yeah.
It can be looked at different levels. That's a product.
Yes.
Right.
At service level now.
At service level. Education itself is service level. That's why people say, don't take your kids to this school, take them to this, So your differentiator as you serve is what makes you stand out of the marketplace and gets you much appreciated, and that's how you end up, getting rewarded for that.
Yes. So as I build my business, I should always think that I need to reach a lot more people. Can this product, how many people have access to this product? How do I get my product to reach more people? What do I need to innovate around to reach even a lot more people, so that my business is serving more, so that I am served as well at the end of it all. At the end of
most
it all.
people look at the money.
That's true. That's true. Chikola.
Chikola. Sente ziriwa.
Ziriwa, yes. Twagala sente.
Twagala sente kati.
Exactly, yes.
Yeah, and
yes.
yet money is always guaranteed.
It's the reward for?
It's the reward for service.
Yes.
At service at scale.
At scale.
Yeah.
I think that's the key
Yeah.
part, because we always say money is a reward, but now you've added another bit.
At scale.
Yes.
And at scale, when
Yeah.
you're looking at your business, there's something we say a lot with entrepreneurs. Don't just look at the size of the market. Look at the size of I think it's the size of the opportunity in the market. So it may be a big market, but the opportunity in that market could be small.
Could be small,
and
yes.
it's not enough for you to build out a successful enterprise.
Yes, you remind me of, you talked about pitching, how they always tell you what is the obtainable market so that they can give you their money. They always ask you that key question. To answer that question, that how many more people can this business actually serve? Meaning, is it a good venture then to get into?
100%.
Yes, to get into. All right. In your experience with the young people, people are always crying about the young guys, but you deal with them every day. What has been your experience, and what can you share with those who are employing them every day? What's your experience?
I think the generations have changed.
Yeah.
When I started Innovation Village, I was I think in my very early 30s.
Yes.
Now in entrepreneurial years, I think I am like 75 But in my early 30s, the guys I used to work with at Innovation Village were in their early 20s, late 20s. And they used to see me as old at 31.
Yeah.
Now, when they joined me in the 30s, when I was leaving the 30s, I used to say, at least now we're all.
Now we're all in the same area. You've
generations
arrived,
have changed.
Yes, great.
The population is getting younger.
Yeah.
The population is getting, by extension, less experienced in terms of skills capacity.
Yes.
And so there's so much opportunity or space for appropriate mentorship, appropriate support frameworks, environment building that is required. So as you work with young people, they are already influenced by what's happening
around them, the environment.
They see entrepreneurs in the world raise $1 million, $1 billion.
That's what they're saying.
And that's what they expect to happen here. And we don't have the framework to enable them to get to that. So you find we have to go, it takes a lot of patience to just work with them, to be with them, to listen to them, and to let failure shape them sometimes. And takes a lot of grace too, because there's pressure is too much, social media is too much, I have examples of other young people who are making it, so there's no reason why they shouldn't be making it. And you are the one who has been given the responsibility to make them make it. So if you're not doing it, you're in trouble.
There's something wrong with you. Yes.
But I think it's a double-edged sword. If we build the right framework, if we support them the right way, then we're going to have a very excellent future of young people who are building our community, our industry. But it takes a difficult balance.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. But you seem to enjoy, and you seem to understand them, and so we celebrate you, and we hope that even as we continue, you'll tell us a bit more about how you've managed and how you've done it. We'd like to just stop the interview at this point, so that we say that we will be back next week to continue this conversation, but we'd like to give you an opportunity to give your life to Christ this moment, because like he has said, it's a tough road, but the promise is that you're not alone. If your life is in Jesus, then you have hope in the one who told you that no matter the trials and the tribulations, I am with you even to the end of age. And so we'd like to give you an opportunity to give your life to Christ this morning, even as that entrepreneur that is out there and you're tuned in. So if you'd like to give your life to Christ this morning, you can just say this prayer with me. You can say, Dear Lord, thank you for my life. thank you that you love me, that you care for me. And today, I would like to give my life to you. Come into my life, be my Lord, and be my Savior all the days of my life. In Jesus' name, I have prayed. Amen. So even as we wrap up this part of the broadcast, like I said, we will be back next week with a continuation of this interview. Would like you to just let us know that you gave your life to Christ, and you can dial this number or send a message at 0775 642 449. There's a pastor at the end of that line that is able to help you make sense of the prayer you just made. Otherwise, until next week, thank you and bye-bye. So now we want to continue the conversation.
You're welcome yet again to an amazing month where we're going to share very interesting stuff about business.
Business group coaching is back.
This business started in 2019 on the cusp of COVID.
Right now, the entire organization has over 30 people.
If that is not growth, you see what I meant when I told you we were bringing somebody with results to show?
That the reason why I need to have this is that people who follow me are mostly sinners. So they need to hear the word of the Lord.
So he knew how to calculate cost of goods, he knew how to purchase, he knew how to price, he knew how to repair, he knew even how to collect debts.
You strongly believe Jesus was a businessman?
Yes.
Anyone who sets up a business to work in it, you created a job for yourself. That business will fail.
When the leader sees small, the business is definitely going to stay small, and so is everyone in it, trapped in the smallness.
Exactly.
You who think the business people are not in kingdom business. Ooh.